The concrete doesn't care about your feelings, but your biology cares about the concrete. You walk through these glass and steel labyrinths, carrying a nervous system that was perfected in the shadows of the Pleistocene. Your brain is a masterpiece of survival, a biological supercomputer wired for one thing, keeping you alive in a world that wants to kill you. But here is the glitch in the system. Here is the architectural error that defines your daily suffering. The world you live in today was built to eliminate the very dangers your brain was designed to solve. You are a high-performance predator trapped in a sterile, temperature-controlled aquarium. Your pulse spikes when your phone pings, not because the notification is important, but because your amygdala cannot distinguish between a digital vibration and the snap of a twig in the undergrowth. This is the birth of the modern ghost. You feel the weight of invisible eyes every time you walk into a crowded room. That isn't shyness. That isn't a personality trait. That is the ancient fear of the tribe's judgment, because 10,000 years ago, being looked at the wrong way meant you were about to be exiled, and exile meant death. You are carrying the trauma of ancestors you never met. Your office chair is a torture device for a spine built to climb and kill. Your fluorescent lights are a mockery of the sun that should be regulating your hormones. Every time you sit in a meeting, nodding your head while someone you don't respect speaks words that don't matter, a chemical war is breaking out inside your chest. Cortisol is flooding your veins. It's searching for an exit. It's looking for a muscle to flex, a jaw to snap, or legs to run, but you do nothing. You sit, you smile, you take a sip of lukewarm coffee, and that cortisol, with nowhere to go, begins to corrode your internal architecture. It eats at your gut, it thins your hair, it tightens your chest until breathing feels like a conscious effort. You are a pressure cooker with a welded shut valve. The awkwardness you feel in the elevator, the strange vibrating tension in your hands when you have to speak to a stranger, the hollow exhaustion that hits you at 3 p.m. These are not signs that you are weak. These are signs that your system is functioning perfectly in an environment that is fundamentally broken. We have traded our freedom for predictability. We have traded our instincts for insurance policies. And in that trade, we lost the ability to feel the ground beneath our feet. You are surrounded by people, yet you are fundamentally alone in your struggle, because the social contract demands that we all pretend the cage isn't there. We look at our screens to avoid looking at the reality that we are domesticated shadows of what we were meant to be. The architect of this world didn't build it for your happiness. They built it for your compliance. They built it to keep your heart rate steady and your consumption high. But your DNA is screaming. It is screaming for the hunt. It is screaming for the cold air of the morning and the genuine risk of the unknown. When you feel that sudden, inexplicable urge to leave everything and drive into the darkness, that isn't a midlife crisis. That is your soul trying to perform a hard reset. The modern man is a collection of suppressed impulses. We have become experts at the polite nod and the suppressed sigh. We have learned to translate our rage into passive-aggressive emails and our fear into mindless scrolling. But the body remembers. The body keeps a record of every time you didn't speak up, every time you let someone invade your space, every time you prioritized a social norm over a biological truth. You are becoming a monument of repressed energy. Look at the people around you in the subway. Look at their jaws clenched. Look at their shoulders raised. They are all braced for a blow that never comes. They are living in a state of permanent near impact. This is the cost of the digital age, a constant state of high alert with no physical resolution. We are living in a world of ghosts, haunted by the echoes of a life we were supposed to lead. But there is a path through the rubble. There is a way to look at the concrete and see it for what it is, just another terrain. To survive this, you must stop identifying with the victim in the suit and start identifying with the observer behind the eyes. You must learn to watch your own adrenaline as if it were a weather pattern. Oh, my heart is racing because a stranger looked at me. Interesting. That is a 50,000-year-old alarm system firing in an empty hallway. You don't have to follow the alarm. You just have to acknowledge it. This is where the reconstruction begins. You stop being the animal in the cage and you start being the scientist studying the cage. You begin to analyze the geometry of your own discomfort. You realize that the awkwardness you feel is just the friction between your primal self and the plastic world, and friction is just energy. The first step of the AAO-XI3 protocol is the audit of the environment. You must realize that almost everything you are told is normal is actually a biological insult. Staying awake under blue light until midnight is an insult. Sitting for 8 hours is an insult. Eating processed chemicals instead of fuel is an insult. Once you see the insults, you can begin to build defenses. You stop taking the world personally. The boss isn't an authority figure. He is a biological organism reacting to his own internal internal pressures. The crowd isn't a threat. It's a collection of nervous systems all vibrating at the same frantic frequency. When you detach, you gain the upper hand. You gain the ability to breathe in a room where everyone else is suffocating. You must develop a coldness toward your own weakness. Not a hatred, but a cold, analytical observation. Why is my hand shaking? Because the social pressure is triggering a flight response. Good. The system is online. Now tell the system to hold. Stand still. Keep your spine straight. Your posture is the first line of defense. A collapsed chest tells the world, and your own brain, that you are prey. A straight spine, a steel rail of a back, tells the system that you are the one in control. It signals to your ancient mind that you are not afraid of the horizon. This is why we focus on the structure. If the structure is sound, the internal chaos doesn't matter. You can have a storm inside your head as long as your frame is made of iron. We are living in the age of the great silence, where everyone is talking but nobody is saying anything true. We are terrified of the truth because the truth is that we are miserable in our comfort. We are bored in our safety. We are starving for a challenge that matters. The Stoic mind doesn't seek to avoid the city. It seeks to master it. It seeks to walk through the neon and the noise with the same stillness one would have in a deep forest. This is the goal. This is why we study the instincts. We don't study them to become savages. We study them so we can stop being slaves to them. We learn the code so we can hack the system. Every moment of awkwardness is an opportunity to practice this detachment. Every time you feel that heat rising in your neck during a confrontation, that is your training ground. Don't push it away. Lean into it. Feel the burn of the cortisol and stay still anyway. Watch the person across from you. See their micro expressions. See their own fear. Everyone is afraid, bro. Everyone is just trying to hide the fact that they are one bad day away from a total collapse. When you realize that, the power dynamic shifts. You aren't the one being judged. You are the one performing the audit. This is the end of the first phase. The realization that the cage is external, but the lock is internal. You have been trained to be small. You have been coached to be quiet. You have been conditioned to fear the very instincts that could save you. It's time to stop listening to the training and start listening to the blood. The city is a test of your architectural integrity. Will you buckle under the weight of the social pressure, or will you use that pressure to forge yourself into something harder, something more autonomous? The choice isn't made once. It's made every second you choose to breathe deeply when the world wants you to pant. The city doesn't just cage you, it rewires you. It has found the source code of your motivation and installed a virus. In the wild, dopamine was a reward for effort, a chemical gold coin given for the successful hunt, the discovery of water, or the securing of a mate. It was the fuel for the long crawl through the mud. But the modern architect has decoupled effort from reward. Now dopamine is cheap. It's a commodity sold in 15-second intervals. Every like, every notification, every processed bite of sugar is a counterfeit coin dropped into your neurological bank account. And because the reward is free, the instinct to hunt is dying. Why would your brain authorize the energy for a real-world conquest when it can simulate the victory in the palm of your hand? This is the castration of the modern spirit. You are being fed a digital diet of empty calories that make you feel full but leave your soul starving for substance. You find yourself scrolling at 2 a.m. not because you are interested, but because you are caught in a loop. Your ancient brain thinks it's gathering information for survival, but all it's doing is staring at the flickering shadows on a cave wall. This is a deliberate design choice. The attention economy is a war on your autonomy. If they can control your dopamine, they can control your direction. A man who can be satisfied by a screen is a man who will never build a fortress. He is a man who will never challenge the hierarchy. He is a consumer, a passive node in a network designed to extract his time and his life force. Look at your hands. Are they shaking for a phone, or are they ready to grasp a tool? The trembling you feel is the sound of your potential leaking out through your fingertips. We need to talk about the social hierarchy because your brain is obsessed with it. Every time you walk into a room, your system performs a silent, subconscious audit of everyone present. Who is the threat? Who is the leader? Where do I stand? In a tribe of 50, this was manageable. In a city of millions, it's a nightmare. Your biology is trying to compete with billions of people simultaneously. You are comparing your average Tuesday to the highlight reels of the global elite. Your status-seeking instinct is being weaponized against you. You buy the car you can't afford, the watch that tells a lie, and the clothes that mask your insecurity, all to signal a position in a hierarchy that doesn't even exist. It's an architectural illusion. You are building an image on a foundation of debt and desperation. The pressure to fit in is actually the pressure to disappear. Evolution taught you that being different was dangerous. If the tribe noticed you for the wrong reasons, you were dead. So you camouflage yourself. You adopt the speech patterns of your peers. You mirror their opinions, and you suppress your own steel rail of truth to avoid friction. You become a ghost among ghosts. But here is the Stoic secret. In a world where everyone is hiding, the man who is unapologetically honest becomes a titan. Authenticity is the only thing that cannot be mass-produced. When you stop seeking status, you gain true power. When you stop caring where you sit at the table, you realize the entire room is yours. Your instincts are currently being used as a leash. They pull you toward the path of least resistance. They pull you toward the crowd. They pull you toward the safety of the herd. But the herd is always headed for the slaughterhouse. The architect knows that a man driven by his immediate impulses is a man who can be predicted. And what can be predicted can be managed. If you want to be autonomous, you must become unpredictable to the system. You must lean into the discomfort. When the crowd runs, you stand still. When the crowd screams, you stay silent. This isn't just a psychological trick. It's a biological rebellion. You are reclaiming the wheel of your own nervous system. Look at the architecture of the modern office. It is designed to maximize visibility and minimize privacy. It is a panopticon. You are always being watched, or you feel like you are. This constant state of being observed keeps your nervous system in a state of low-level prey vibration. You cannot think deeply when you are braced for an interruption. You cannot build a masterpiece in an open-plan office. This environment is built to produce middle management drones, not architects of reality. To fight back, you must build a mental fortress. You must create zones of absolute silence and isolation. You must learn to close the doors of your mind, even when the physical doors are wide open. Your struggle with procrastination isn't a lack of willpower. It's a conflict of instincts. Part of you wants the long-term glory of the build, but your ancient brain wants the short-term safety of the rest. It thinks you are in a period of scarcity, so it tells you to conserve energy. It doesn't realize that in the modern world, energy is the only thing that grows when you spend it. The more you move, the more power you have. The more you resist, the stronger the frame becomes. You must stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a fickle chemical ghost. You need discipline, the architectural integrity to hold the line, even when the ground is shaking. Discipline is the only thing that survives the storm. We are terrified of being bored, so we never allow ourselves to be still. But stillness is where the data is processed. Stillness is where the audit happens. When you distract yourself from the boredom, you are distracting yourself from the truth of your situation. You are using the noise to drown out the sound of the structure cracking. Stop, put the phone down, sit in a chair and stare at a blank wall for 30 minutes. Feel the itch, feel the panic, feel the desperate urge of your brain to find a distraction. That panic is the feeling of your addiction breaking. It is the feeling of your autonomy returning. In that silence, you will finally hear the voice of the architect. Everything in the city is designed to make you soft. The climate control, the delivery apps, the ergonomic chairs. They are all layers of insulation between you and reality. And soft things break easily. You need the friction. You need the cold. You need the weight. This is why the Stoic seeks out the hard path. Not because he is a martyr, but because he knows that resilience is a muscle. If you don't stress the system atrophies. Your steel rail spine becomes a wet noodle. You must build a practice of intentional hardship. Walk when you could drive. Speak when you could be silent. Stand when you could sit. Reclaim the physical reality of your existence. You are currently a collection of borrowed habits and inherited fears. You are a map drawn by people who have never seen the terrain. It's time to burn the map. It's time to stop trusting the signals the world is sending you. The awkwardness you feel is just the feedback from a system that is trying to calibrate itself. Don't fear it. Use it as a compass. Where there is discomfort, there is a boundary. And where there is a boundary, there is a chance for expansion. You are not a finished product. You are a construction site. And the first step of construction is always clearing the debris. The audit is complete. You have seen the cage, you have identified the chemical lies, and you have felt the friction of your suppressed biology. Now comes the reconstruction. To live as an autonomous unit in a world of drones, you must stop reacting and start designing. You are no longer a victim of your instincts, you are their operator. This is the transition from the animal to the architect. The first rule of the protocol is simple. Invert the signal. When the world screams for you to hurry, move with deliberate slowness. When the environment demands that you speak to fill the awkward silence, let the silence hang until it becomes your ally. The man who is comfortable in a silent room is the man who holds all the cards. Silence is the ultimate architectural frame. It forces everyone else to reveal their own instability while you remain a monolithic presence. presence. Your body is the hardware, and your posture is the OS. If you want to change the software of your mind, you must force the hardware into compliance. This is where the steel rail comes in. A straight spine is not just about health, it is a neurological signal to your primitive brain that the horizon is clear and you are the dominant force in your territory. When you feel the weight of social pressure, don't shrink, expand, take up space, not with aggression, but with a cold, immovable presence. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Feel the weight of your own bones. Every time you consciously correct your frame under pressure, you are performing a hard-code rewrite of your anxiety. You are telling your DNA, I am not the prey, I am the structure. The second rule, identify the glitch. When you feel that spike of irrational fear, that stutter in your voice or that sweat on your palms, do not fight it. Audit it. Trace the wire back to its source. Realize that your brain is firing an old signal in a new world. My pulse is rising because I am being judged by the group. Recognize the antiquity of that thought. It is a ghost from the Pleistocene. By naming the glitch, you detach from it. You become the observer of the storm rather than the man drowning in it. This cold detachment is your greatest weapon. While others are being swept away by their emotions, you are standing on the shore, calculating the tide. This is the Stoic advantage. We feel everything, but we obey nothing. We must talk about the method of the opposite. The modern world is built on the pursuit of comfort, which is why the modern man is so fragile. If you want to be unbreakable, you must pursue the friction. Seek out the cold shower, the long walk in the rain, the difficult conversation you've been avoiding. These are not chores. They are stress tests for your integrity. When you intentionally place yourself in uncomfortable situations, you are building a reservoir of resilience. You are teaching your nervous system that discomfort does not equal danger. When a real crisis hits, everyone else will panic because their comfort has been stripped away. You will remain calm because you have been living in the friction by choice. You are the only one who knows how to operate in the cold. Your instincts for dominance and protection must be redirected. Do not compete for the empty status symbols of the crowd. Do not waste your energy on digital arguments or petty rivalries. Direct that fire into the build. Whatever your project is, your business, your body, your intellect, make it your fortress. Build it with the same obsession an ancient predator used to track its prey. When you focus your primal energy on a single point of creation, you become unstoppable. The world cannot distract a man who has found a purpose that satisfies his biology. This is the secret of the high-performance mind. It is not about suppressing the beast. It is about giving the beast a mountain to climb. Stop seeking validation from the network. The network is designed to keep you average. Every time you look for a like or an approval, you are handing over a piece of your autonomy. You are asking the cage for permission to be free. The architect does not ask for permission. He consults the data, he checks the structural integrity, and he executes the plan. Your value is not determined by the group's consensus. It is determined by the quality of your output and the strength of your character. If the world calls you strange or cold, take it as a compliment. It means you are no longer vibrating at their frequency. It means you are becoming an autonomous unit. The final stage of the protocol is total integration. You are a biological being in a technological world. You do not have to reject the city, but you must never become its product. You use the tools, but you do not let the tools use you. You walk the streets of 2026, but you keep your mind in the eternal reality of the struggle. You are the silent observer in the back of the room, the one who sees the patterns that everyone else misses because they are too busy reacting. You see the fear in the aggressive, the insecurity in the loud, and the potential in the silence. You have the eyes of the architect. You see the world as a series of structures, and you know exactly where the pressure points are. This is the end of the script, but the beginning of the work. The AAOXI3 protocol is a lifelong audit. It is a daily commitment to the straight spine and the cold mind. It is the refusal to be domesticated by a world that wants you soft and predictable. You are the anomaly in the system. You are the one who stayed awake when the lights went out. You are the one who found the steel in the middle of the concrete. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your frame made of iron. And never ever forget that the most powerful thing in any room is a man who knows exactly who he is and refuses to apologize for it. The cage is open. It always was. Most people just stay inside because they're afraid of the wind. Step out, deconstruct, rebuild, dominate.